I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode. As always, I'm so glad you're here. We've got a cool guy on today. His name is Justin Stafford. He owns Keaton Quilts, last standing quilt shop in New York City. He's in the Flower District, if that means anything to anybody. I've never been to New York, so I don't know. Apparently, it's really cool, and I would love to go there someday. But Justin has such a great selection of fabrics. He's got Liberty of London, which I find so cool. It's his favorite, so he loves to carry it. He does long arming classes, and his shop is also everything's available online, so you can shop his inventory there at KeatonQuilts.com. But anyway, I had such a good time just talking to him and getting to know his process and his story of how he got to where he's at owning a quilt shop in New York City. So I hope you guys enjoy this conversation and go check out his shop while you're listening. And yeah, let's get into it. Hi, Justin. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so glad we get to do this.
Me too. Gosh. Yeah, geez. I can't wait to chit chat about quilting and whatnot. One of my favorite subjects.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too. That's why we're here. So you own, well, co-own, I should say, Keaton Quilts with your dog
I
Buster.
do. Yes, our CEO. Gosh, Buster Keaton.
Yeah,
He's a sweetie.
cute. So cute. And we'll get into that, how you got that started, but I want to know how you even got into quilting and sewing in the first place.
Sure. Geez. I was a crafty kid. Loved painting and paper crafts. I mean, you name it. If it's crafty, gardening. Gosh, I definitely did it. But yeah, sewing in general, I would say one day my mom wasn't home, which was quite common when I was a kid. We moved around a lot and whatnot, so I used to hyper focus on crafts and anything creative. I loved it all. But yeah, one day she wasn't home and I saw her sewing machine at the bottom of her closet along with a polyfill bag of stuffing. And on that polyfill bag of stuffing, there was a cat. It was like a simple cat pattern for a little stuffed, two pieces together, has a little tail, super cute. I was like, I could do that. Why not? I grew up, well, my dad, he built pianos and band organs, Nickelodeons and all
Wow.
that. So he had a giant shop with many staff and all the tools you could imagine. And I always saw him create stuff. He also repaired hydraulic animatronics at one point. It was the Country Bear Jamboree. And he spoke to me through them, and I freaked out and ran away.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it kind of instilled in me this kind of I could do anything attitude. Just seeing all these things built, and he repaired pinball machines, like all the ridiculous things you could imagine. He was very mechanical, and yeah, gosh, so I kind of had this idea: if I could see it, and any normal person could do it, why couldn't I? So yeah, back to the sewing machine. I made that first stuffed cat and made a ton more. Boy, used up all the fabric I could find in the house. Then I went to my local library and there was a magazine that had a quilt on the cover. It was like a house with a tree next to it.
Mhm.
And I didn't have my library card. Geez, libraries back when people would go to those. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Dating myself here. Geez. So, so yeah, I took a look at the magazine, went to take it out, realized I didn't have my library card. So I kind of stuck it in my memory and went home and got to work. Now I didn't know much about fabric. Cut up basically anything I could find to make it work. There was felt in it. I cut up a corduroy shirt I had because it was the perfect color. I got it right here for those who can
Oh,
see.
oh my
This is my
gosh.
first one. Never finished it.
Oh
When I
my
finished the
gosh.
top part, eventually I went to my grandma and I was like, well, what do I do now? And she sewed a little bit, so she told me, well, you could hand quilt it. So I started hand quilting it. I mean, the black
Hmm.
threads are the basting,
Yeah.
but little bits of quilting in there. And that is when I lost my patience as a 12-year-old.
I was gonna
And
say.
so it's stayed basted ever since. And yeah, that was my first one.
Oh
Gosh,
my
the roof,
gosh.
it was a pocket on one of my on my mom's blazer,
Yeah.
and I took it off with a seam ripper, used it as a roof. She never said anything, so I got away with that. This was piano bench fabric, so I ripped it
Oh,
off the piano bench and reupholstered it and put this in here because I like that back then for that the house part, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's the corduroy from my shirt there, and yeah, this was
Whoa.
what got me started.
That's crazy. How cool. I love that you still have it too, and that you can see there's like little bits of your childhood in there with the different clothes and different thing, fabric sources. That's so funny that you're just like, oh, I'll take this pocket. And how
Yeah,
like
geez.
gracious of your mom to just like let it happen.
Yeah, totally. She's never called me out on it. We never spoke about it. It's
I
very
think
sweet of her.
she probably just figured he's being creative, he's being crafty. I'm just gonna let this. And if, you did such a good job that maybe it wasn't noticeable, that's even better.
Yeah, it's possible. I honestly don't know if she did notice. She did wear the blazer still, though. That I do remember. Yep, with it just had one pocket. Not that you put your hands in your blazer pockets, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you buy stuff with like one random pocket all the time off the shelf. So maybe she just thought she was crazy and was like, oh, I thought this had two pockets, but I guess it just has one. Psych. It's
It's
in
possible.
Justin's quilt. That's so
Yes.
funny. And I just love that you were like willing to get your hands on everything and try stuff. Cause I think it's like such a unique way to grow up. Not unique in the sense that like it doesn't really happen that often, but I think I know I took it for granted for a long time, like growing up with a crafty ass mom. And like my dad was
Mhm.
always tinkering and building stuff too. So it's like, yeah, always being around that, I've always had the idea that like I can do anything. Like I can build stuff, I can make things,
Yeah.
I can, you know, or it, a DIY household. So it's just like, of course I could figure that out. I stayed away from sewing for a long time, but I did like everything else. So it's just funny that you were like, you know what? I'm gonna just remember this quilt and I'm gonna make it up as I go and just figured it out because most kids would be like, I don't know.
Yeah, geez. No, I had a very active imagination, and I loved crafts so much. I moved around a lot as a kid, so I would lose my friends each time I moved, and
Mm,
I was very into my pets, and I was very into all my crafts. Geez, I made greeting cards with stamps and whatnot, and I oil painted landscapes.
mhm.
I love drawing, which helped out later. I did draw a fabric line that almost came out and now is coming out in the future, so that's exciting.
Oh, cool. That's so
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah,
So
geez,
cool.
it's basically, if I could see it, someone else did it, why can't I? Like same thing with opening a quilt shop. There's so many little things you have to do, and it's fun getting to tinker around and figure them all out, like filling a quilt shop with furniture and whatnot, and it's wild. There's so many things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. How fun to like. I think sometimes projects like that where you're like starting from nothing, you're like, there's too many things to do. So I just like my brain shuts down because I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. But like once you get started, I feel like, at least for me, once I get started, then I'm like, okay, this is fine. I can figure this out. But sometimes a blank slate is scarier than like at least starting with something, you know?
Oh, definitely. Geez, when we found the space, it was just a big empty room. It was wild, and creating aisles, creating a classroom, just making it all come together, finding furniture, and doing it on a little budget. It was a lot of fun. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet. Oh my gosh. So I mean, okay, so you've been like super crafty sewing since you were a kid. What
Yep.
like did you just stay drawn to the fabric world and just like kept in that vein, or what was it that I guess
Yeah. Geez, good question. Yeah, boy, let's see. So I made a bunch of those cats that
Mhm.
I talked about. And then my next thing was bag holders. Back in the day when we used to get plastic bags at the grocery store,
Yeah.
had a ton of them. And I saw a cute little pattern for a little animal with a dress and a little hat. There were bunnies and there were ducks and whatnot. And there was a little piece of elastic at the bottom of the dress, and you would put the plastic bag, grocery bags in the little animal as storage. So I started making those and selling them. And I sold
Oh,
enough to buy my first fancy sewing machine. Before this, I was just kind of getting them at yard sales and running them into the ground until I had a lead foot, and
yeah.
boy, just went through those machines. And so I finally saved up and bought a used Viking Husqvarna number one plus. It had like an
Mm.
embroidery module. It sewed in any direction. I think it was almost $1,000 used at the time, and yeah, I love that thing. It was amazing. It really got me going into, just trying to sew anything.
Yeah.
And, doing clothes, doing anything, just wanted to embroider everything under the sun. I
Yeah.
must have put my initials on, I think, everything I owned at that point.
I mean, why not when you
Just,
can?
yeah, definitely. But yeah, that really kind of cemented me in this is like a craft I'm going to stick with. Now, eventually, I did go into foster care after getting started in sewing and
Mhm.
whatnot. So I definitely kept on sewing, and that helped me get through a lot of hard times. I also, in my last year of high school, I got a job at Joanne Fabrics, now defunct, gosh. And
Mm.
yeah, so I worked there in between day school and night school. I graduated early when I was 16 to just kind of get out of the situation.
Yeah.
And then I went off to college. Now, when I was in college, I didn't really sew too much, honestly. It wasn't until, let's see. So I went to school, graduated in 2008, great year to graduate, the financial
Yeah.
crisis here in New York
Superb.
City.
Yeah. Wonderful.
But I did get an ad job, was there for 7 years at an ad agency. It was creative, which was great. And then unfortunately got laid off, not by anything wrong or whatnot. It was just we lost a big client, and
Mm.
that was the consequence. So they had given me a nice chunk of money, and I started going through my storage unit, and there was all the fabric I had from when I was a kid, and the sewing machine. So I pulled it out, ran down to the local quilt shop at the time in New York. It was City Quilter, great shop, and yeah, I had seen they had a contest. It was called, oh, what was it? It was basically to make kennel quilts for shelter dogs.
Oh,
And I
okay.
was like, that is something I want to do. Gosh, always loved animals.
Yeah.
And so I did it. I made a little kennel quilt. And I remember the last round, once they found the top 10, which I made it into, I was very proud. They The last round was voting. And so I went and I made an Instagram account for quilting and just trying to get some votes for the contest. I did come in runner up. I came in and I had won a little Bernina prize, which was great. But the Instagram blew up. I think it was just, the juxtaposition of being in the city and whatnot. And
Mhm.
suddenly I had this following, and all these great, amazing things came to fruition. Geez, someone reached out, was like, "Can you write a book?" I was like, "Sure." That was Macmillan, and so I had my first
Okay.
quilting book published. It was a little kit, came with everything you need to make a mini quilt for kids, and I wrote the
Oh,
little book that goes along with it, how to make the mini quilt, all sewn by hand and whatnot. And yeah, geez, I had my quilts in Saks Fifth Avenue windows, which was mind blowing at the time. I couldn't believe it. Geez.
yeah.
My latest thing is Liberty of London, which is my favorite fabric brand, I would say, or maybe even brand overall.
Yeah.
They reached out recently, and now I'm designing some patterns for the future collection they're doing. So it's been a
Wow.
wild ride.
Whoa, so fun. And like just so cool that I mean, sewing is just such a skill that you can just take with you and it's like riding a bike. You're like if you don't do it for a while, you can just sit back down and get
Yeah,
back at it. And it, might take a minute to get back your muscle memory and skills that you've had previously, but you can always just like jump back to it. And no matter the situation, it feels like it can, you know, be there. It transcends everything. It's a skill that you can have with you no matter what's happening, no matter where you go. It doesn't just leave. And even if you don't have a machine, it's like, well, I can do that by hand. It's like worst comes to worst, there's like
definitely.
super accessible ways to get to it even if you don't have a super fancy setup. So that's cool. That
Yeah, gosh, I love English paper piecing for that. It's
yeah.
so portable. Like if I'm on a plane or something, or I went to the Maldives last year, and it was a great little thing to have with me. I basted all the little hexies beforehand, and it was
Yeah.
amazing. So portable. Geez, I didn't have a scissor on a plane, but I brought my little floss thing to use as a thread cutter.
Oh, that's so nice. How cool. The Maldives. Oh, that sounds so nice right now. I'm like, oh, islands.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I would like to go there. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
and a
nice.
bungalow on the water. So relaxing.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Um, I did go to Europe last year, so I need to calm down. It's fine. Um, Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, okay. So what, yeah, I guess I mean I read a little bit, so I know like there were quilt shops in New York City, but the last one closed its doors. And so then you were like, well, I mean, we can't let this happen. So you decided to open your
Yeah.
shop?
Yes, definitely. Geez. So at the time I had worked at a little quilt shop and I did their long arming and most of their teaching. And I had something called social sewing, which I taught a couple times a month. And it was just where all these ladies would bring their projects and we'd come and it was social. It was really fun. But I had taught it for, geez, I think maybe 7, 8 years at that point. And so I got really close with these people. They kind of felt like family to me. And, I didn't want to give that up. I couldn't imagine not seeing them anymore. Boy.
Yeah.
So yeah. And, all the other quilt shops had closed. And so it's like, why not? Geez. So
Yeah.
my husband really, he was the one who kind of egged me on to do it. I was like, I can't even imagine it. He's like, come on, you could do it. You could do anything. And I was like, well, oh, okay. So yeah, we started looking for spaces and boy, that was a wild ride. Just commercial real estate. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
Finding out, geez, when they count square footage, geez, just like a hallway or a bathroom in the whole building's added in as square footage. So I'd walk
Mm.
into a place and be like, what is this 1,200 square feet? There's no way. And then slowly had to figure all the little things out.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool that like your husband encouraged you because mine did the same for me. And anytime I was like, what about this? He's like, yeah, why not? And I'm like, I don't know, because it's scary. He's like, and he's like, come on,
Yeah.
you can do this. He's like the reason I started the podcast. He's the reason I even
Yes.
was had the, you know, courage to start my long arming business because I'm like, "Oh, this is I could start a business." He's like, yeah, you could. And I'm like, wait, really? He's like, yeah, duh. So we love supportive partners around here because it makes a difference when you've got
Sure.
somebody in your corner
It
that's,
really does. It's
you
nice
know,
having that little support system in place to kind of, if you're feeling down or, just not the greatest, they're there to encourage you to keep pushing through. That's
yeah,
the best.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's so lovely. Well, yeah, so I guess what was that like? Because you were saying, the square footage and all that. It's and I
Oh
like,
yeah, it was wild. Just all the business things, apart from quilting. I feel like I had a pretty good handle on quilting, but geez,
yeah,
opening a small business, there's so much more to that than quilting. Geez,
yeah,
even day to day, I'm on the computer mostly. I'm buying stuff for the shop, buying supplies, and figuring out what direction do we go, and figuring out in this big room, in this big space, what do I do? There's always a million little things to do and just kind of, heading off in a direction. Geez,
hmm,
it's
yeah,
wild.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely I work in lists, boy, trying to keep on track of everything, customer orders, log arming, teaching, making the schedules, putting in the inventory on the website, and it's endless,
yeah,
merchandising the store, constantly trying to make that work.
yeah,
There's
right,
there's so many pieces into running a small business. Hiring people, training, and keeping that all running smoothly. Jeez.
yeah, right, yeah. I can
Yeah.
imagine. I mean, I've never had employees, but having worked retail, I worked at a one of my local quilt shops for a little bit and I was teaching the long arming there too for a little bit and um super fun, but yeah, it's just a lot. And even just like my little tiny business, I'm just like sometimes it feels overwhelming because it's like when you're the one doing it all, it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, there's nobody who's gonna come save you from the pile of shit you have to do every day. And
Yeah, seriously.
like you have to be the
Completely.
one to check those boxes and it's tricky.
Yeah. It is, geez. I try not to, when we first started, I definitely beat myself up way too much. Felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. I wanted to succeed and, make my husband proud. He had, put his faith in me and it wasn't a tiny investment.
Yeah.
And, I really wanted to succeed. We had only been married maybe a little over a year at that point, known each other
Oh,
a few years before that though.
yeah.
And yeah, so I felt like I had something to prove and knock on wood, luckily I did. We're doing great, which is amazing. I made him very proud and we're just growing. We're now looking at bigger spaces even. We're gonna hopefully in the fall try to find a more space. Boy, the room was empty and I remember when we first opened, I was really trying hard to make it look full because I had a limited budget to work with and
Yeah.
now I've just jam-packed every corner of the room. We had shelving and I kept putting extension upon extension upon extension on them. In Manhattan, you can only kind of go up.
Yeah.
Tight on space. And yeah, geez. Yeah, so we're doing great, and we're hopefully going to go into someplace almost twice the size.
Well, that's so cool. And
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes, when you start into something, you don't really know where it's going to go. And so when you get to
yeah,
make those growth moves, it's kind of like, oh, holy cow, like we're doing it?
yeah. Seriously, I mean, even the space we're in now, I'd never done anything like this before, and I tried to be a little conservative, I thought, in my head, but with a little room to grow if it did go well.
Yeah.
And luckily it really came together. And yeah, now I'm like, oh, I wish I had gone for that, bigger space. But I think this was really responsible and a good way to kind of test the waters, see how it goes, and
Yeah.
go from there.
Yeah. Well, and gives you a taste for what it means to let yourself grow into a space too. I think if you start too big, it's almost like, again, that overwhelming thought of like, how am I going to fill this? Especially
Yeah,
when you're just starting and you have a limited budget and you want to maximize what you've got so that you can get the biggest bang for your
definitely.
buck and like provide the best of what you can for your new customers. It's like thinking of doing that in an even bigger space. It's like, I don't know.
No, it's true. Geez, for sure. Just even what we did is we went up to the eighth floor, which is, not typical in retail. I had been looking at spaces at street level in New York. It was a little after the pandemic, and I don't know, there was some crime, and that kind of made me nervous and
Yeah.
whatnot. And then out of nowhere, my husband saw a pretty big space compared to the ones we were looking at that was up. And the more I thought about it, the more I liked the idea of it. There was lots of light. There was view of like the water. I loved the New York City water towers. I think there's six of them. I'm looking out the window at them,
Yeah.
and it was just bright. It felt like a studio. Like, oh, I felt like I could make things happen. The stores on the street level, they were pretty dark. You had to kind of create that light artificially. And
Yeah.
while we do have tons of lights in the room, I would say it's just nice being in a bright space. Gosh, I can have plants, which I love plants.
Yeah.
I use every square inch of window light at home. I have 53 plants at home. This just gave me a reason to have some more. We are on the flower district, excuse me, block in New York City. And so it's always nice to walk down the sidewalks. There's just, every plant you could imagine lining them on my way to work. And,
Yeah.
when I walk the CEO at lunchtime, it's nice
Yeah.
to be around all those flowers. And I didn't know that at the end of the day, a lot, what they do is they just leave outside the ones they don't want, which, are a little sad, maybe. I mean, not in
Yeah.
my eyes, but in theirs. And
Sure.
so, of course, I can't walk past them and leave them there. So I've just become a giant plant hoarder.
Wow.
And yeah, but having the light is really great because then I can put them in a windowsill and yeah, they're thriving.
That's awesome. And, like, yeah, who would ever think that you would have access to that? Like, you're just looking for a space for your business. You're not thinking, like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm going to get to take all these plants and flowers home because they're going to be discarded. And yeah, it's
yeah,
like
no,
may not be suitable for selling or like putting in a bouquet, but
yeah,
or
yeah,
a floral arrangement, but for just taking home for a couple days. And that's so cool. And I agree with you. Like I think the number one thing that will bother me about being in a space or having to work in a space is if there's not enough natural light.
yeah,
And
definitely.
and you're right, like when you're in a city, a big city like that with tall buildings all around you, like even though you have windows, it doesn't matter because the sun's not getting anywhere near that. Like you're not gonna get
Yes,
sunlight. So getting up
exactly.
above
Like if
it.
on the ground floor, like even if it's, if it's getting cloudy or it's gonna rain, you can't even tell. You gotta like peek your head out the door to and look up to kind of see what the sky is doing.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. Wow. I I mean, I love visiting cities, but every time I'm like, yeah, I definitely like appreciate that I have so much open space around me, like where I live and just grew up that way too. And even my sister, because she lives like in the San Francisco Bay Area. And they're not like in the city, but she's like, every time we go in the city, it's like you can't see anything. You just see like buildings.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's hard because you have to like look up. But then if you look up, then you look like a tourist and everybody, it's like
Yes.
I'm like, oh, it's tricky, but I'm glad that you were able to get this that space because I think it makes a huge difference in people's shopping experience too. I hate going into a shop that's dark because then I'm like,
Yes.
I feel like I'm not supposed to be in there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially something like fabric. Like you really need to, you need some good light to see it. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even with the light we have, I'm always adding, extra light into the shop. I do love, I'm a tech nerd too, and I tons of strip lighting under every surface, at my house. So I kind of brought the same thing here, just
Yeah.
trying to make it bright so you can really match those colors well.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, putting things together. Another thing about being on the 8th floor was like, are people going to come? Are they going to find us? And luckily, quilters, they seek out those quilt shops. And
Hmm.
so they did. And that wasn't an issue at all being up here, 8th floor at all. I was very relieved.
That's good.
People, they'll Google us, New York City
Hmm.
quilt shop, and we come up and, sometimes they'll call us from downstairs, be like, where are you? And we'll be like, up on the 8th floor, hop in that elevator, come visit us.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's on your website too. I looked and it's on there. It says eighth floor. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And it's, it's good that it's in there because then people can actually see the directions of how to get there. Cause yeah, there's nothing worse than like getting somewhere and like the place didn't specify that they're like on a different floor than the ground level. And you're like looking for that information and you're like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go, but you made it plain as day. So that's good. Um, what was I gonna say? I keep losing my train of thought. I'm so sorry. I feel like such a ding dong right
No
now.
worries.
But
That's me most of the time.
okay, so obviously quilt shop, you've got fabrics, all that stuff, which we love. We love fabric, but I want to talk
Yes.
about long arming because
Yes.
you were doing long arming for the other shop that you worked at and you long arm at your shop. And I just want to talk about long arming because it's my favorite. And so like yeah, when did you learn at that shop and then start teaching there or how did that go for you?
Yes. So basically what happened is, I mean, I taught regular classes, like intro to quilting, and, easy curve, all the normal quilting classes. And the long armor head wanted to retire at the quilt shop, and the owner was looking for someone to do it. And I'd never used a long arm before, but I was like, that sounds like a lot of fun. I love the idea of it. And so she brought me downstairs where the long arm was and showed me how to load a quilt in. And I was like, oh, this is great. I knew immediately I wanted to do it. And yeah, it kind of ran ran from there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I got started. Then yeah, I long arm customer quilts for the shop uh, for a few years, and I really wanted one of my own, honestly. And so
Yeah.
I applied to be a Bernina ambassador at the time, and
Okay.
they accepted me. And so I was able to get a very low cost long arm, which I then put in my living room. And yeah, it was great. Little did I know the quilt shop was going to close. It wasn't something we were clued in on or anything. And so I
Mm.
just happened to suddenly have a long arm, which came in really handy when it was time to open in the shop. It was like, all right, one less thing to grab because that would have been a huge chunk of money, geez, out of
Yeah.
our budget. So just having that all ready to go was it just kind of it was came all together. It was perfect.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Because yeah, they're spendy to get into.
Yes,
Even the quote unquote less expensive ones, it's still thousands of dollars to get,
for sure.
one of high quality that's gonna be able to do a high workload. So, and the Bernino ones are great. I got to
Yes, they
use
are.
one at the shop when I was working there too, and I was like, "Oh, actually, I kinda like this too." I don't have a Bernina for myself, but I've used it and I really liked it, so
Yeah, I do. Oh gosh, they one of the silly things they have that is just so amazing to me. I love that they use regular sewing machine needles from like, domestic machines. It's just so handy, I don't have to worry about the direction or anything. You just
Yeah.
it just works. And if you have a weird fabric, you could just grab any, Schmetz or any kind of needles and put it in, and it usually
Yeah.
solves, any kind of issues that may happen. So it's super handy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so nice. And they're so smooth. Like,
Yes.
I feel like if you're gonna do, custom work, it's like one of those that you would want for custom because it does move so easily
Yeah.
and you don't have to fight with it a
It
lot.
does. Yep. I had used somebody else's long arm once, trying to give them lessons on it. They had gotten it, and boy, I kind of didn't realize how spoiled I was. When you'd go to move to like the left or something, and it would drag more than when you're moving to the right. And there were all these things with it that you kind of had to balance, and it felt like a charades of sorts. And
Yeah.
boy, now I after that moment, I definitely appreciated the Bernina. Just, whatever direction you went, it was just kind of steering the smooth, Rolls Royce of a long arm.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. And so fun that you long arm. Do you just still have the one long arm? Have you added more?
Yes. Nope. So still the one. When we move, we are going to get another one, and then hopefully rent out with them.
Oh, fun.
You know,
Okay.
get lots of requests for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How fun. Do you do everything hand guided or do you have it digitized?
So we do have the computer attached to it, for
Okay.
Pantos, for edge to edge for customer quilts.
Okay.
I don't have as much time as I would like to be able to do custom anymore, just running the shop and whatnot.
Yeah.
But as we grow and I hire more people, I'm hoping to get back into more of the custom, which is what I really love.
Yeah. So fun. It's
Yeah.
I think it's like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I can totally do that. And then you like start to work and you're like, oh my God, this is actually gonna take me so long.
Yeah, seriously. Gosh. Boy, I had thought I had all the rulers I could possibly have, just for quilting, a square in every half-inch size and whatnot. And suddenly had to go down the ruler rabbit hole with the long arm rulers. Geez.
Yeah.
Um, I love doing custom, and boy, I love ruler work. And there's
Yeah.
nothing like having a ton of tools at hand to kind of help you put your vision, help bring it to life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. Well, so
Yeah.
when you get your second machine and you rent it out, will you just have people do free motion on their own and or like paper pantographs, or will you do the computer for them as well, or just
To be honest, I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking it's probably going to be hand guided. But honestly, I'm not positive. We will see. Kind of see how it goes. Right now I have a Q20, and I want to get a Q24 just to have some more space, to
yeah.
have to advance those quilts a little bit less.
Hmm.
And we'll see if whether I leave the computer on it or bring it over to the 24. Um, yeah, still debating
Yeah.
that one. That's a good question. I'm not sure myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it requires a lot of training, just to even, load a quilt into a long arm the right way. And
Hmm.
so, just showing them the hand guided way seems like a lot, let
Yeah.
alone, having them use a computer and
Yeah.
program all those designs, which isn't as easy as one would think.
No.
Um, Especially when you start masking out different areas and whatnot, and having it avoid, applique or something, and trying
Hmm.
to get that perfect. I do wish. So we just got the 990 machine from Bernina this year, and it has like a camera, and it scans the hoop, and you can do long arm files in it and everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
you're basically blind though when you have a long arm, and
Hmm.
I am so excited for when they bring that 990 technology with the camera and the scanning into the long arm world. I think that's going to be a huge game changer because I'd love to see on the screen exactly where I was placing everything.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, Bernita, if you're out there, hurry up.
Yeah. Come on, Bernina.
Gosh.
Ooh, yeah, that would
Yes.
be so cool. That would be so cool. Cause
Yeah.
yeah, I think, when you're on the backside of the machine, especially following a paper pantograph, it's like you can't see
Yeah.
what's on the front of your quilt. And, there's ways around that, but at the same time, it's like a lot of work. And I think I'm like when I was working at that shop, people get so mad, not mad, but they would like take the long arm certification course and then they'd be like, when are we learning the computer? And I'm like, you're not. They're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, that's not like there's no way I could teach you everything you need to know in this 3-hour class. Like, this is for you to learn how to
Oh no, 3 hours, gosh.
yeah, this is for you. Well,
There's no
it
way.
was more than that, but still, it's like
Yeah.
that's no, that would be like a week and a week-long class kind of thing. But also,
Oh yeah. I
like
mean,
I
I'm
need
years in, I still learn,
yeah,
different techniques and everything, just, editing the designs and all that. It doesn't come naturally. It's not like a
no,
straightforward thing. It's yeah,
no,
very complicated, but fun. I love figuring stuff out. And so I feel like I'm always learning more with the longer. I mean, gosh, it's
yeah,
not something where I ever feel like, oh, I know it all now. And it's
yeah,
not that in any way. So
yeah,
it's great to constantly, learn new things with it.
yeah, yeah. It's a fun learning curve and getting to play around with stuff and figure out how best to quilt something is it's just like my
Mhm.
most favorite part of all of it. I'm like, I piecings for the birds. I don't know. I do it obviously, but I
Yeah.
I like sewing. It's just when I can get to the long arming, that's when I'm like, yes, I know exactly what pantograph I'm gonna use. I know exactly what thread color. Like, and when I have clients who just like let me do what I want, I'm like, yes, because
That is the best.
I just get a vision for things and I like know exactly what pantograph will look good and like
Yeah.
for myself, I realize like not everybody is gonna have the same vision I do of what it should look like, but I think
Yeah.
that's why it's important to find a long armor that speaks your language in that way. Like it's a relation I always tell people it's a relationship. Like if I
Yeah.
like you've done that part, you've done your part and now it's my turn to do my part. And if we work together, collaborate, like then we'll get your quilt to its best self, its best space. And like that's only ever my goal. So it's like when somebody just like builds that trust with me and it's just like, oh, I'll just let you pick. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Oh, it's the greatest. Jeez, I'm lucky enough. I've had so many of my long-arm clients are people are uh repeat clients. I've been doing their quilts for many years. And so they're just, here, I don't know what I want. Do what you think is best,
Yeah.
even if it's just like I ask them what thread color they want. They're always just like, chef's choice, you go for it. And I love that they put that trust in me.
Yeah.
That, we've worked together enough they'll know that if they let me, choose the design or the thread, that they'll be happy. And I really, it means a lot to me, that they trust me with that, gosh, because, that you put so much time into a quilt top,
Hmm.
um, just hours and hours, and then you're handed that baby off to somebody that you put all that, not just hours into, but all that mental, all the thinking about it, choosing the fabrics and getting
Hmm.
everything just right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of trust goes into that, handing that off to someone else, and so I really appreciate that from my clients. They let me have so much freedom in choosing what to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I agree. It's like, yeah, it's such a good feeling and
yeah,
it takes, I think, also on the long run, like our end, me and you, like just being upfront with people and being,
yeah.
you know, being honest about
I
certain
learned that
things
very
because
quickly.
yeah.
Yeah, gosh, just even helping teach people that keep coming back. I'm sure you've got wavy borders at some point in
Ah!
long arming,
Yeah.
once, twice, 80% of the time. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, just being able to help them be like, listen, your borders were a little wavy, and helping them with their next quilt, just teaching them just by doing their quilt and seeing things that could use some work and pointing those out, and then the
Yeah.
next time they bring one in, it's so much better and easier to do, and just gives a much better result.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's again that relationship is like
Yes.
if I don't take it upon myself to let you know or let my client know that like this was a problem for me on my end and this is what I had to do to work around it, s- um it's like I'm not giving them the opportunity to fix it or to improve when it's kind of like my job, I guess. I take it on as like it's my job to make sure that like they're getting the result they want because they've done everything they can on their end, and I'm going to do everything I can on my end to get it to where they want it to be.
Yep,
So,
for sure.
um, so what kind of other, I mean, you've got the long arming, that you do, so you don't rent your machine out now. You just long arm for clients.
No,
Okay.
we're booked. Our turnaround time's about 8 weeks, 7, 8 weeks usually.
Okay.
Generally I have 25-ish quilts in queue. So I will give lessons on the long arm. We do offer private lessons with it, just because hard to do a group with long arm teaching. It's
Yeah.
not something I figured out yet without having multiple long arms.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so we do private lessons on it because then I can kind of keep watch, make sure nothing happens because God forbid, knocked out the timing or something, then I wouldn't be able to finish everyone's quilts in time.
Right.
So that's really why we don't rent it out, honestly, is that if anything were to go wrong, that would kind of affect the business in a really negative way. And so,
Yeah.
in the future, when we have a second one, then it just seems like a much better way to go as far as, being able to guarantee that if someone gives you a quilt and they need it at a certain day or time to give us a gift or whatnot, is that I know I'll
Yeah.
be able to meet that deadline. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Perfect. So, but you have other classes, right? Because you mentioned a classroom.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. That's where I am right now. I'm in our classroom, and yeah, we have we have a design wall. It's actually very big. Just behind me is a little part of it. But let's see. Actually, on Thursday, I'm teaching this class. It's just intro to machine applique. So you can
Okay.
use the hearts on and you zigzag around them and whatnot.
Okay.
And then I teach an intro class. It's where you make a little mini quilt in a day. When I first started teaching intro, it was the first one I did many years ago. I had started with a baby quilt, and I was like, this seems like a great way to start. But I found that everyone was so invested in those baby quilts where, they'd never sewn sometimes before, never quilted before. And here they had already planned the recipient for their first project, and it had to be perfect, and they were going to
Mm,
give it to them. And I found that people had such a hard time learning because of that stress level in getting it perfect
yeah.
that I very quickly, after teaching a few times, pivoted, and now we make a 12.5-inch square mini quilt. So kind of a useless size. You can still put it on a wall and,
Sure.
use a little, not a doily, but something to put stuff on.
Yeah.
But they didn't have that investment there in it of, gosh, this has to be perfect. And boy, it really immediately was night and day. Everyone was leaving much more satisfied in making their quilts. And, we were able to get through it much quicker and just go over all the steps in making a quilt but in something that was just meant to be practiced so that when they left they kind of had done all the parts of the quilt making, the cutting, the piecing, the quilting, the binding. They had done it already, so then when they went to make the next one, which would be maybe a gift for someone, they would just be more comfortable and have that skill set now to do it in the future. But yeah, I do teach lots of classes. Geez, trying to think. Like a fun one, we make chenille. I don't know if you've ever done that, where you take like layers of
Oh.
flannel and you sew little channels into it, and then you
Uh-huh.
cut all but the bottom layer so it stays attached to each other. You throw it
Okay.
in the washing machine, and when it comes out of the dryer, it's just all fluffy, like those Chanel
Oh,
suits and whatnot. That's a fun one.
yeah.
Um, yeah, gosh. I do curves classes. I find quilters are usually afraid of curves, and then,
Hmm.
once they do it, they're like, "Oh gosh, why did I put this off for so long?"
Yeah.
Same thing with Y seams. Although I will say Y seams, you still got to be pretty technical. So some of people are like, "Oh, I get it now. At least I understand it." But boy, I hate being that, specific
Yeah.
um, in the Y
Yeah.
seams and whatnot. We make little
Yeah.
Polaroid blocks. It's like a little Polaroid picture. You're piecing
Hmm.
basically. Oh, actually, here's one. You make a
Oh,
little you're just framing with your little fussy cut thing and some white and having a little border that's thicker on the bottom and then making little Polaroid blocks. So that's a fun one.
cute. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I
I
love
love
that.
teaching. Teaching's the
Yeah.
best. Honestly, like there's times where I can get burnt out sometimes from sewing endlessly. Just
Yeah.
even I bind people's quilts a lot when I do the
Mm-hmm.
long arming, and then I'll go teach a class where just seeing like a beginner is so excited and so happy to be learning quilting, and that inspires me. And suddenly I get right out of that little whatever rut I was in, and I'm excited to sew again. It's just it's not only I feel like the students are taking away, but I'm also taking away that excitement that it's infectious, and I really love it, honestly. I I eventually have to hire more people to do teaching,
Yeah.
other than myself with the business as we're growing, which has been amazing. But yeah, I never want to completely give it up. I'm hoping that I can always, still teach because I love quilting, and I never want to get to a point where I'm just doing like the business side of it. I
Yeah.
like being, in the shop day to day, and really getting to teach and long arm and do all the things and not lose track of that.
Yeah, I hear you. I think like that's one thing that can be kind of tricky is when you turn your hobby into a business, you kind of
Yeah.
almost sometimes don't get to do your hobby anymore because you're doing all the other stuff.
Definitely.
So the fact that, you're able to keep some of that in the loop for yourself as you're still doing the businessy stuff, but doing the long arming, teaching the classes, you're keeping it in your in your like cycle of things you do is I think is important
Yeah.
because I think you can get burnt out on it. But if you keep the things that you love to do and then hire people to do the rest or find ways to
Yes.
like streamline the rest in a different way, like it definitely
Yeah.
makes a difference. Cause yeah, it can definitely get exhausting.
Yeah, it can, honestly. I'm here most days. I always work at least 6 days a week, and I'm here when the sun's up, leave when the sun's down sometimes. But it's so fulfilling, working. I've never worked for myself really before, and just, being able to build something and see it grow.
Yeah.
It's really, it feels so great, honestly. Just, accomplishing this thing, and you know, this room, geez, just walking into the room, just hearing people. So the hallway is kind of plain and vanilla, and then they open the door, and so many people have said it's like the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy walks through, and you open up and there's color everywhere, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just hearing that, inspires me, to keep going and doing
Yeah.
more and more. There's so many. I feel like with a shop, there's an endless amount of things I want to do. I want to buy a laser cutter to cut our own templates with, and
Mhm.
do that. I want to buy a 3D printer to make notions with, to distribute. I love
Yeah.
writing patterns, and we have our own patterns, and we're gonna have more. Geez, and then eventually, if we do well enough, I'd love to buy a fabric printer. Geez, that's another rabbit hole I would love to go down. I had so
Yeah.
much fun designing fabric, and I'd love to keep doing it. I
Yeah.
feel like all these different parts that, there's so much to grow into still. And if one thing ever becomes a little not the most fun, there's always something else I can jump to. And yeah,
Mhm.
geez, I love photography, and even just taking pictures of bundles we make for the shop. It's nice to be able to get to do that photography that I love so much.
Yeah.
I'm always bouncing around from thing to thing, or building furniture. Gosh, I love building stuff. And geez, I'm always building new fixtures and more shelving and whatnot.
Mhm.
I feel like there's so many things to bounce between when you have a small business you're running.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. You become like a jack of all trades because it's like there's
Yeah.
so much stuff to do and be done. And yeah, it's like, well, I'm not in a position to hire anybody, but I can sure figure this out. Again, it's like go back to that idea that like I can do anything. I can figure this out. Like I've got skills and um, just
Exactly.
a little bit of gumption to do it is like it can go a
For
long way.
sure.
I mean,
Yes.
we moved the business into our garage last summer from my parents' house and I mean, my husband built a wall and a makeshift um roof like for me because we had to leave room for the garage door to still open and for him to still park his car in it. And it was just crazy. Like in a day and a half, like he and his buddy, he called his friend who was also like into woodworking and stuff. He was like, "Hey, can you come help me build this wall in my garage?" He was like, "Yeah." He came over with his tools and bing bang boom, I had a wall. And I was like, "What? Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's a studio." We just like put some drywall up and some insulating, those little like the shiny foam panels, like
Yep.
just to kind of help. It's the garage is finished, so it was already like, sheetrocked and stuff on the walls. But anyway, it's just, yeah, those like little, it's like I don't have to go get a place. I can do it here at home and save that money. And also, between me and my husband with our skills, like we could put this all together and make it happen. So it's just
Yeah.
a little bit of a little skill and a little bit of like willingness can go a long way in when you run your business, because you kind of have to be the one to do a lot of the stuff sometimes. So it's
Oh yeah,
nice.
gosh. Sweeping, vacuuming,
Yeah.
mopping, dusting.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere where you're cutting fabric's gonna get dusty really quick.
Oh yeah.
Boy, just keeping up with that alone.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. Well, I want to talk about your fabric line because you said you designed it a while back
Yeah.
and then it didn't happen, but now it's going
Yes.
to happen. So tell me all the things.
Mhm. Oh gosh, yes. I'm super excited. So I had designed a New York City fabric line a few years back, and it was going to be with Studio E, which is a great little fabric house. And Megan, who works there, she helped me with it, and it was amazing. Unfortunately, right before it was going to be time to promote it, the person who was kind of like my father figure passed away, and so I
Oh,
wasn't really in the headspace at the time to move forward with it, and, be able to promote it in the way it deserved.
yeah.
So they very graciously let me have the rights to it back, and just kind of sat and wait. And then here, now we are now I'm with a New York City quilt shop. What could be better than a New York City fabric line to go with it?
Yeah.
But I loved it. When Studio reached out to me, Studio E, they were like, "Can you design fabric?" I was like, "Sure." One of those moments.
Yeah.
Because I drew a lot and painted when I was a kid, but I hadn't done much since.
Uh-huh.
And it was amazing because it was this challenge. It inspired me to, get drawing again. So I got a sketch pad and some pens and little rulers and everything, and I started going for it. And it was so much fun. I loved it. Hadn't done it was like it forced me to do something that, I had loved so much as a kid. And here I was doing it again. And so I had drawn, abstract skyscrapers and I don't know, finding inspiration. I had looked to a lot of the photos I'd taken. I used to love walking my dog through the parks and taking photos of all the flowers with, giant lens. And
Yeah.
then I had, I also loved Liberty. And I was like, well, what could we do? So we combined like flowers in the city. So there was like pretzels in one of the prints with flowers on it and just really abstract fun things, drawing skyscrapers. I have a cheater panel, which is different scenes in the city, all with flowers and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's a food truck print, taxi print, the classic Greek coffee cup print.
Yeah.
Yeah, geez. And yeah, so then here we are. We're calling around to see all the fabric printing places. That's where we're at the moment, figuring, between cost and quality and what's the best, so we can have it printed the best way possible.
Yeah.
And then just last week, one of the fabric companies who prints was like, oh, when I was telling them about this, they're like, hey, we wouldn't mind printing it. So they took a look at it, they took my strike offs, and
Hmm.
they're going to get back to me. So that might take a lot of work off my hands as far as having to have it printed myself. We'll see, knock on wood.
Yeah. I'll knock on wood for
But
you
yeah, we want to
because
have that by the fall or early next year. We're looking to release it.
okay. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. And what did you name it?
Um, I don't know. So I'm back to thinking I might, change the name.
Okay.
I think it was called Urban Sketchbook
Okay.
initially. But yeah, now it's kind of TBA. I'm a little debating what to call it because now that we have our own quilt shop and we're actually, it's more New York City. I'm not trying to be, generalized city. It's, we're in New York. So
Yeah.
I might rename it. It's
Okay.
more to come.
Okay, that's good. So we'll
Yeah.
watch this space because we want to know what it's going to be called because we want to get our hands on it. And that, like, what a fun,
Okay.
I mean, I love seeing like a themed line that's like based somewhere, like that has, very recognizable landmarks and, certain things. And it's like when you're from there and you see that, you're like, oh, I know what that is. It like sparks that feeling
Yeah.
of recognition and
Yeah.
it's just fun and to be able to have something like that. And I mean, I've never been to New York, so I don't know what I'm talking
Oh,
about,
okay.
but I do like all these things you're mentioning. I'm like, oh yeah, and I like that. I think of that when I think of New York or like whatever. And I actually did a I did a quilt for a client and boss her boss was retiring from the New York Times and they sent me all this fabric that I think she got a lot of it like from Spoonflower. So they were just like custom designs that was like all New York and uh, it was like very cartoony. I don't know. So cute, but one of the prints was just like those coffee cups and I was like I want this on everything. Like they were so cute. But anyway, it was just interesting to see cuz I was like I've never seen anything like this. It was just like New York, you know. And it wasn't all aligned like, you know, they were all just like from different people, different designers that just had like random fat quarters and stuff, but it was still fun to kind of play with it and just like and then also specific like the New York Times logo was like on some of the fabric. So I tried to use as much of that as I could. But um yeah, it was just interesting. And so just having that quintessential like New York feel and putting your twist on it, your art, and it would be so fun to see that come to life for
Yeah.
you. Cause you know, I think there's when you even when you're making the decision for yourself because you're like, I know that I can't put my best foot forward right now, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean there's no heartbreak in that, you know, it doesn't mean there's no disappointment
Yes.
in that. And so I can imagine that even though you were trying to do what was best for you and the fabric and all that situation,
Yeah.
you still have to grieve the fact that like it didn't go it didn't go out in the world when it was supposed to. And so, well, I shouldn't say supposed to because maybe it just needed time for a reason. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that's how I see it. You know, it's what could be a better time than having a quilt shop in New York City and having suddenly a New York City line. Gosh, our city prints do very well. We get lots of tourist customers, and they love to have, you know, something to remember their trip by. And
yeah.
we sell lots of city fabric, and I find, unfortunately, a lot of it, city fabrics, they're pretty generic, and you can tell they're designed by people who don't live here sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess people to add in all the little details of, you know, I've been here, gosh, 15, almost 20 years probably, in New
Okay.
York City, and just, you know, taking that and you know, putting it into that fabric and really giving it a personality is so much fun.
Yeah. Oh, I bet that sounds like such a good time. And I've not been brave enough to venture into like surface design. I'm like, oh, I'll just quilt other people's quilts. It's fine. Um, but I just love the creativity and just like ingenuity and just seeing people's personalities and the work that they do. And it's like anytime I get to talk to like a fabric designer, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, I don't know. I just love it. It's super
Yes.
fun. So,
Yeah.
okay, so you're working on that and then you want to move soon. Do you kind of want to stay in the same area or are you looking at other areas of the
Yeah.
city?
So yeah, I mean, ideally it would be even in the same building if possible.
Hmm.
I love the building I'm in. It's been great, and you know, it's a pretty good location. We're only a half a block from FIT, which has been great. A lot of students have been coming, you know, to get supplies. Even like at the last minute, if they need something.
Yeah.
We're here. We're like a 5 minute walk from Penn Station, which a lot of people would come into the city on. And so we're just it's very central, but not so central that it feels, you know, I don't know, like without personality, like businessy. It's nice to be in again in the flower district. I love flowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I kind of found the perfect spot. So if it could be in the same building, that's ideal. We were told a
Hmm.
couple spaces might be opening up in the fall, and so if I could do that, definitely. If not, yeah, I really would like to stay in this area. I think, you know, being pretty central and easy, close to landmarks, like, you know, where tourists can get to,
Hmm.
where, you know, maybe a less than 10-minute walk from Macy's, you know, the kind of 34th Street hub of it all.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'd like to stay in the spot we are. Um, but we will see. Yeah, it's commercial real estate. It's a wild west of sorts. And yeah,
Yeah.
just if the right place opens up, we'll move. But you know, I really want to make sure it's the right move because I don't want to have to do it more than once. So
Right.
even if it takes a little longer to find the perfect place, you know, I'd rather do that than
Yeah.
rush something.
Yeah. No, no joke. And yeah, because like I don't know how it is. I don't know if it's like nationwide, but I know at least here in my state, like usually commercial leases are 5 years. So
Yeah.
You're like locked
Yeah.
in. And if it's not working out, they're like, sorry. You're just like, oh, I have to do this for like 4.7 more years, you know?
No, for sure. Gosh, it's a scary thing. Luckily, the lease we signed had like the good guy clause. That's
Oh,
not the right name, but it sounds something like that, where you leave it room swept and they keep your security, but you're fine, kind of thing.
okay.
Uh, and if we do move in the same building, everything's fine. If we don't, we lose a little bit, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run.
Yeah. 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 Find what's going to work for you and ultimately serve your customers and serve your business best. Like,
Yeah, gosh, I'm so looking forward to being able to have a bigger selection. The City Quilter was such a great quilt shop. I feel like they had a little bit of everything for everyone, whereas you could
mhm,
walk in and you weren't, stuck in one person's very specific style. You
mhm,
kind of could just grab from anything and create your own style,
mhm,
uh, which was amazing. Now I had worked in a shop after that, which was very specific. It was a modern quilt shop, and even in modern quilting, it was like Tula and things that look like Tula,
yeah.
and that's it. And
Okay.
people would come in, and I feel like it turned a lot of people off. Not
Mhm.
everyone. I mean, Tula's great. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. We
Yeah.
carry Tula.
We're not talking shit about Tula. We love
We are
Tula.
not in any way. We love Tula. I love Tula. I
Yeah.
really do.
But it's not for
Gosh,
everybody. It's not for every
exactly.
palette. It's not for every project.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like I have a little bit of everything now, blenders of every style, batiks, Ruby Star, Tula, and a giant selection of Liberty because that's my favorite. I got to
Yeah.
be selfish somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, trying to, whenever I see something strange and new and different, I grab it. I love unique stuff.
Yeah.
And, even just having solids, we have a ton of solids. I don't know how many we have. I would have had to guess maybe two, 300-ish.
Mm, nice.
But there's always more. Like I love the idea of, when we move, I'll be able to have an even bigger selection just so, people can find exactly what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your favorite line of solids?
Ooh, gosh, that's tricky. Um, and controversial even maybe.
I know, right? You don't have to
Gosh,
answer. It's okay.
I mean, I would say Kona's the most popular, so we carry a lot of Kona. People come in even at just, I want number 712, or and they know exactly
Yeah.
what they want. So I think that's good to have.
Yeah.
But I love Superior solids. They're very soft and they don't really fray too much, and I think they're
Mm,
great. So we have a mix of those. We have some Michael Miller. We have some confetti cottons. When we first opened, I kind of bought a few from everyone to see what I liked, what was the best, what sold well.
yeah.
Just not just a what do I like perspective, but what do my customers want?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm kind of sticking with that. With Robert Kaufman moving across the country, they had lots of trouble fulfilling orders, let's say. And
Mm-hmm.
so like we ran out of like basics like black and white, and it didn't matter how many I ordered, they weren't coming.
Yeah.
So I had to go to some other brands to get just colors just to have until they got their shipping in order, which knock on wood they will soon. Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Essex so much, and I feel like
Mm,
there isn't really a good substitute out there to be able to, oh, this is fine, grab this until Essex comes back.
yeah.
So, just I love texture and everything, and wovens and all the things, and
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I like Superior Solids. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say that
Just
that's one I really enjoy.
yeah. I don't think I've ever used superior solids, but
Okay.
I'm not opposed to it. I just
Yeah,
don't
they're
think
from
anybody here carries
Benertex.
better text. Oh, lies. I've used it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing is what like when I'm making quilts for people, I just get what I need to get to make their quilt work. And so I'm not necessarily
Mhm.
focused on like brand or manufacturer. Like for my own personal quilts, I have my druthers, but like yeah, if I'm making a quilt for a client, I'm like, I just got to get what I need to make this work. And like, I don't care what brand it is. If it's the right color,
Yeah,
that's all that matters. Or if it's the right print, that's all that matters, you know? So I'm
definitely.
just always curious to like hear from people because it's like, I get stuck in my like little bubble of like what I use and what I like or what's available to me.
Yeah.
And so I just like to hear
Yeah.
what's going on out in the world because like, this is like my
I'm
window
very
out.
curious. I have a question for you. Now,
Yeah.
talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on digitally printed wide backs?
Digitally printed wide backs. Um, I love hate them.
Okay,
Because
controversial.
yeah, and I'm fine. Like I stand on business. When I say what I say what I mean when I say it. So if I
Yeah.
get heat for it, whatever, like this is my
All
opinion.
right.
My opinion, it doesn't mean it's like set in stone. So whatever,
Yeah.
you're entitled to your own opinions. But I love hate them
Yeah.
because I love that there's like cool stuff available and that there's a wider range of wide backs coming out, but also
Yeah.
some of them are not made, they're not all made equal. That's what I'll say. They're not all made equal. And so some of them are just fine. And they
Yeah.
don't get weird runs in them when you quilt them, but some of them are not fine and they get runs in them when you quilt them. And so you see like
Yeah.
white runs between the the warp and weft and it looks
Yeah.
terrible and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
And there's no, as a long armor, it is so frustrating because I'm like, this
Yeah.
quilt had the potential to be so freaking gorgeous and now it's ruined
Yeah.
because this fabric is garbage. And it makes me
Yeah.
really sad because it's more expensive
Yeah.
and it's harder to come by because you have a lot of times like my local shops carry some, but I'm like, I don't ever
Mm.
love the selection. So I'm like always hunting online. So if I can't see something in person or touch it, it's tricky. And
Yeah, it's hard to tell what you're going to be dealing with. Yeah, for
exactly. So yeah,
sure.
that's where I'm at. How,
All right. Yeah, I was
yeah.
curious.
Where are you at? Like, I
And
mean, I don't
I
know.
feel kind of the same way, honestly.
Okay.
I love just the amount of colors in some of them is just amazing. They're so detailed,
Yeah.
which is they're beautiful. And some quilt up amazingly. They really do. And then others, not so much.
Yeah.
Like you said, the runs or seeing the white puncture holes in some of them.
Yeah.
It's really disappointing. And one of the things I love, I mean, we sell online and we're an online shop too,
Sweet.
but I love being able to be in person and sell things in person because even just putting fabrics together for a quilt online, I find so tricky. Just you're looking at photos and you don't know, is that warm cool balance on point? Is the
Yeah.
the magenta and green balance on point? A picture could be anything. It doesn't really give you a good idea of what you're going to get. So I love,
Exactly.
having a shop in person where people can come and they can feel the fabric. And, if it's a digital, they can look at that digital and they'll kind of know what they're getting into.
Hmm.
It's really handy, gosh.
Yeah.
And, online, that can be tricky. Like you said, you may find a beautiful print, but you don't know if the quality is there. So I
Right.
am looking forward to, more and more of the manufacturers kind of mastering what that is
Yeah.
to be able to get those quality digital wide backs. And I hope that a
Yeah.
bunch of them continue to improve, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. Cause I mean, again, as a long armor, I love a wide back. I mean, when clients
Yes.
bring
Oh,
me their
yes.
big quilts with a wide back, I'm like, oh, thank you. I don't have to deal with seams. And
Of course. Yeah.
it's so nice. And again, it's like, I'll do whatever, as long as your
Oh, yeah.
backing and your quilt top are sewn and there's no gaps and it's not falling apart, I'll quilt it. Like,
Yeah.
it's my job to help you. It's not my job to judge you and make you not want me to quilt your quilt. But like
Exactly.
there's just differences in quality of things and it's like I think if anything, any what could be, I guess, called judgment is just comes from a place of like, I know how this is going to turn out, and I'm going to be very sad
Yeah.
to,
It's not a style judgment. It's just of
right,
a technical, approaching it in a technical way.
right, right. And it's not to be snobby or like, well, I'm better than you because I only use, it's like, no, I know that like this thing is going to happen to this fabric and there's nothing I or you can do about it. And even though this is what you've
Yeah.
chosen, like it's going to be to the detriment of your quilt overall. And
Yeah.
the look, I mean, I don't think it's, it's not harming it in any way. It's just the look of it.
No.
And but when you're spending all that money to
Yeah.
get that fabric and then also to pay me to long arm it or pay you to long arm it.
Mhm.
Like you want it to be as high quality as possible. So the fact that there's just some fabrics out there that even though they come from a well-known, highly regarded manufacturer, but their wide backs are garbage. I'm like, come on, you
Yes.
can do
I
better.
know.
You do better
Yep.
with everything else,
Literally
but
everything
why not your
else.
wide back, honey? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
So
I'm with you.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I try to give my customers, all the information. So, it's not for me to make a choice. It's just that they understand and have all
mhm.
the information, and then they can choose, how to move forward once you give them that information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I can only tell you this stuff. You're going to do what you do. I
Yeah.
just want you to know from my end, this is what I see and why this happens. And yeah, again, just being an information source for the people who are bringing their quilts in. It's like, but yeah, I do love a wide back though. Um,
Yes. Oh no, I love a wide back. Gosh.
yeah, yeah,
It's I mean, I find when you're sewing anyone's sewing large pieces of fabric, it's really hard to keep them square. And just have everything, perfectly flat. It's tricky. I struggle with it myself when I'm cutting,
mhm,
giant pieces. Knowing that they are straight and
yeah,
being able to square them up so I can pin them into the machine properly.
hmm,
Even just the just the edges being square, let alone
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
gosh,
yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
It's a fight sometimes, and you're like, "Why won't this
yeah,
roll on correctly?" And you're just, like, fighting with the stupid fabric and the stupid canvases, and you're like, "Okay,
yeah.
well, I guess I'm not good at my job, whatever." Um,
Yeah, no, it's a struggle, honestly, because I always love being able to do my best,
yeah,
that's why I do this. I don't, you know, do it just to get as many out as possible. Like I do
yeah,
this because I love my customers and I've known them for years, and
mhm,
I really want to be able to give them the best I can. So sometimes I'm fighting something that, isn't, it's just a choice that was made, and
right.
there's only so much you can do, and it can be a challenge, which challenges are great, but sometimes they are stressful.
Yeah, oh,
um
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Also, wide
Mhm.
backs make really good garment fabric, so if they're good quality
Oh,
wide
interesting.
backs, because 'cause they're more
Yeah.
kind of sateen sometimes, like
Yes. Yeah.
a lighter weight, so they drape better, but yeah, so that's been fun to play around with.
I love when they're nice wovens, or
Yeah,
even Essex. Essex makes a great backing. Uh,
mhm,
yeah, and they have 108s, which is amazing.
beautiful.
Um, yep.
Yeah, ugh,
Jeez. Yeah, lawn. I love using the Liberty lawn for
yeah,
backing. To me, that nothing says heirloom like that. Like it'll last forever, and it's so soft.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, Liberty. I always, like, drool at it, and then I see the price, and I'm like, "I can't do it." Um,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
maybe if
It can be
they're
pricey.
yeah,
I mean, a lot of people think of only the lawn. They do have
mhm,
quilting cottons,
yeah,
which we have much more. We have a huge selection of the Liberty quilting cottons, and
yeah,
they're just as easy to work with than anything else. They're just kind of, the designs are timeless, and then the
mm,
colors are updated, many
yeah,
many times to bring them into the modern times. And
yeah,
I don't know, they just feel so heirloomy to be able to use them. But boy, I love using the lawn myself. But it
mhm,
is trickier to work with, trickier to sew with. It's softer. It's like the Hermes scarf of quilting cottons.
yeah,
But the detail in it is just so beautiful. And
mhm,
gosh, if I'm making something super intricate and detailed, I love the idea when someone cuddles with it. If you use like a bamboo batting or something, it's just so drapey and soft
mhm.
and nice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad to know I can get Liberty from you because I never like, if I see it in person, because it's I don't actively go looking for it because 'cause I'm just like, that's not my price range. It's fine. I'm also trying really
Oh.
hard to not buy fabric, which I keep failing at, but it's fine. Anyway, but that's exciting to know that you have it, and I think,
Yeah.
like, just knowing different sources is always, like, it's a good thing because then if somebody else is asking, I'd be like, "I know
Definitely.
exactly where you can get that because now I know," but that's really cool, and I love it so much. I think where did I see I had only ever like really seen it online and just been like, "Oh, I love that so much." But then I saw it at QuiltCon last year in Raleigh and I was like,
Okay.
"Why is this breaking my brain right now?" And yeah, it
My
was very
gosh,
tempting to
it's
buy all
nice
of
to.
it.
I love that we specialize in that, and then I would say we specialize in kitty prints. So we have
Ooh,
a little bit of everything, but we have a lot of liberty, and we have a nice little kitty print section. I do love. I mean, I have Buster, our CEO. He's my little pup.
yeah,
But I do love a good cat fabric.
me too.
Um,
Me too.
yeah, geez, they're just adorable. Geez.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like there was these kitties that came out a little bit ago with like they were doing their like mug shots. It was like wanted, peeping Tom, wanted, major catitude, a perpetrator,
That is so
crying over
funny.
spilled milk, wanted for feline,
Really? Oh
just
my
like,
God.
you know, I love that how humorous they can be. Jeez.
Yeah, that's so funny. I love cats. I'm a cat mom and I do love cat fabric, so
Nice.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I got a like specifically curated charm pack that was like only cat prints one time because I haven't sewn with it, but I was like, I need this. It's like all cats and it's probably going to be the most obnoxious quilt I ever make, but I don't care. I don't care.
No, geez, it was a big anniversary for Hello Kitty this year, and so they did a collabo with Liberty in Japan, and so
Mhm.
I had gotten a bunch of the lawns in Liberty Lawns with Hello Kitty in them. And I love them because the Hello Kitty in the US, they're fun, they're amazing, we
Yeah.
have some. But they kind of scream Hello Kitty. Whereas the Liberty ones, they had taken the Hello Kitty and then used their classic designs and incorporated it, where it's more like a Where's Waldo situation of like,
Oh,
it doesn't scream from across the room. It's very subtle. And so it's
yeah.
kind of classy, I'd say, in a way.
Oh my
And
God.
so I get my Hello Kitty in there, but it's very tastefully done.
Yeah.
And so I had gotten a bunch, and people had seen I gotten a bunch, some friends and customers and whatnot. And so I couldn't give a lot away, but we created these little charm packs where you get 20 different pieces of the collection, 5-inch squares. And
Mhm.
so we carry those. And there's only a limited amount because I don't know how much of this fabric I'm willing to part with.
Right?
But yeah, people have been loving the little Hello Kitty Liberty Lawn charm packs.
Oh my God, cute. I love Hello Kitty so much.
Yeah.
Um, I my friend Emily got me into playing the Hello Kitty Island Adventure game on my Switch, and then I got my sister sucked in, and then I got my friend Stephanie sucked in because we all like love Hello Kitty, and it's just the funnest little game. And then my sister was in Hawaii this spring, and she like kept finding Hello Kitty stuff and said, so like we're Hello Kitty people. So that is just I didn't even know they released that. That's crazy. Like I'm learning so many new
Oh
things
yeah.
today. Wow.
Gosh.
I feel like I'm not even a part of the quilting world right now because I'm like, how did I not know this?
Oh boy. No, geez, there's so much out there. It's hard to keep track of. Geez.
Yeah,
There's whole world.
I know. I know.
Yeah, especially like me just being in this room and working so much. I miss a lot of what's going on myself. Working long hours on my little quilt shop, and
Yeah.
yeah, I can get detached from what's going on. Somebody's like, "Oh, there's a concert coming or a movie coming out or something." I'm like, "Oh wow, I had no idea."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I tend to get laser focused sometimes, and
Yeah.
yeah, geez.
Yeah. How do you like yeah, how do you decide what you want to carry and what to pass on? Like what do you have like
Oh gosh, it's so
people who help
tricky,
you
honestly.
decide or do you do it all yourself?
So I do it all myself, honestly. But I always struggle. I always get a little nervous. So when we first opened, I mean, I got a little bit of everything to start, but then
Mhm.
I got a few collections, and I was nervous because, when I look at a collection, I can kind of almost tell this is going to sell well, this might not sell so well, and it made me nervous, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think I dialed back now, carrying like feeling the pressure to carry on the whole collection of different collections. I would rather choose, my favorite parts of the collection, making sure I had things that went with it, like
Mhm.
blenders and whatnot. As long as I did have that, maybe not buying into all the blenders that I know will just sit, and rather focusing on the ones that I'm like, well, these will turn over faster and I can have more variety this way.
Sure.
So the manufacturers might not be so happy with that. But I feel like it's taken a lot of stress away of knowing that I have all of these coordinating prints that are going to come that might not sell so well. And so I feel like, I don't know, even being open, I feel like that just seeing what the customers like, and a lot of the customers, I would say, kind of struggle to put different things together if it isn't like a line kind of spelled out for them, which is
Yeah.
totally fine. I feel like everyone chooses their favorite part of quilting, and some
Hmm.
people maybe might not be their favorite part to be, or have the ability to match different things. So what we do is we have lots of curated bundles where they're not the same collection, but they all go together nicely. We make, 5/4 and half yard bundles of them. Um, just so people who, need that extra little bit of help in coordinating things have like a place to go to and like a starting point when they're making a quilt.
Yeah.
And I just love there's so much, and I can only fit so much in my shop. So I really try to choose my favorites, and even in styles that, maybe this isn't my preferred style, I can still appreciate that it's so different looking and awesome
Right.
than what else is out there.
Right.
And so yeah, I love having variety. That's the key, I would say. Um, Even in
Yeah.
choosing Liberty, what Liberty not to buy. I mean, there's much less of that, I would say. And gosh, I also, I don't know, just the fact that fabric is so the way that they try to pull it in a couple times a year, releasing new collections and then push it out.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way about fabric for the most part. I think that, with Liberty, I'll say, we have a ton of Liberty, and I really
Yeah.
like being able to have a large selection of it. And looking at, I mean, I started painting when I was a kid. That's where I
Yeah.
really began things, and kind of
Hmm.
look at it as paints. Having a bigger selection of like paints to choose from
Yeah.
as fabric,
Yeah.
and yeah, just looking at it as like these are all beautiful and they don't need to go away. So I buy, maybe more bolts of it just to be able to maintain that large selection of it.
Yeah.
I like going and looking at it that way versus something that's like, oh, this line is new, but in a couple months it's done.
Yeah.
That's not my way of looking at
Yeah.
it.
It's always sad when a line goes away too, like especially because there are certain ones like for me that I love, and if I find any prints from that fabric or whatever, I can like get my hands on more of it. I get it because it's like I still
Yeah,
love it and I still wish it was around, but yeah, it's that like
yeah.
that quick in and out like turnover
I like
of
the fast fashiony-ness of it
yeah,
all.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
I'm
like
with you. I mean, even I buy prints that manufacturers have that maybe aren't even brand new. I mean, they're new, but
right.
I just like I was like, oh, I love that line. They still have a little bit, and I grab it just because
Yeah.
it's one of my favorites. And like you said, I want to get as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, and I can imagine it's hard to balance, and especially not really knowing like what is going to sell, because it's like you might think it's going to, and then it just sits there and you're
Yeah,
like, what am I doing? Like I just invested all my money in this and now I
yeah,
just have to like watch it sit there and collect dust while nobody's buying it. Or sometimes it sells really fast and you're like, well, what the heck? Like I need more. And then you
yes,
get more and then nobody buys it. And you're like, ah, I can't win.
yeah, yeah. No, for sure. Gosh, yeah. It's really tricky that balance because you're ordering collections months in advance sometimes of when they're going to come out. And you never really know what you're going to have in your shop even at that point anymore. So
Yeah.
it's very tricky, especially in a small space where you may not have a lot of storage for backstock.
Yeah.
Just kind of you know figuring things out and making it all work. But
Yeah.
it's been a blast. Like the whole
Good.
I kind of have in my head is where it lives. All the fabric we carry. I don't know how many bolts, and I should know, but way over 1,000, and just keeping
Wow.
track of that when I'm buying. Like we have a color wall, and keeping it somewhat balanced, with yellows and reds and everything. And even
Hmm.
when it comes to colors, I have favorite colors that I'll
Yeah.
appreciate more than the others. I'll go out there and I'll throw it out there, maybe controversial, but brown wasn't my favorite color when I was quilting
Yeah.
brown fabrics, and honestly, just seeing how customers used it and whatnot, and seeing their quilts made with it made me appreciate it more. And now I try to find some cool brown colors.
Yeah.
That I when we first opened, I didn't have too much, but just even though it wasn't my color, a fabric choice, just seeing how others used it and how excited they were, that inspired me to kind of beef up my selection a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that can be hard too, is like getting out of your own head and out of your own likes to be like,
Yes.
well, someone might like this actually, so I should probably have things other people might like too. So yeah, I feel that because I have definitely my colors. I'm like, I don't really want anything in those in any other color, but but like you, it's like the more I've seen fabrics work together and the more patterns I've seen and the more kind of the artistry of it all that I've seen, I'm like, there isn't really a color that I'm like, I would never put that in my quilt. It's just how, it's the how.
Yep, for sure.
So
Definitely.
like I won't put orange on my body, but I could use it in a quilt.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I wear blue, gray, black, not
Yeah.
not too crazy. But yeah, no, I love color in my quilts.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, geez. I mean, for the while I was so set on jewel tones in general.
Mm.
And I'm kind of looking forward to being able to do a project that isn't a kit or something for the store, and kind of see where I go now that I have all this extra experience in fabrics. I feel like it did change my style a bit, and grow it for the better, like grow my horizons.
Yeah.
I feel like owning a shop definitely helped do that, especially just especially wovens. I mean, I always love Essex, but
Hmm.
Essex was my favorite and I kind of stuck to that. But seeing shot cottons and peppered cottons and just all the different chambrays and
Yeah.
everything that you could use on denim even. I made
Hmm.
some denim and Liberty. Like, I mean, I did that once before. But just I love combining texture and,
Yeah.
maybe like the texture of like a Essex next to the texture of like a Liberty lawn is amazing. The difference.
Yeah.
It just I really enjoy it. And having a shop just I just learned more and more about what I thought was my favorite. It just there's so much out there to experience, and this allowed me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. And it kind of like is reminding me of when I was a barista, like through most of college, just the being behind the machine, like getting to try so many combinations and make whatever drink like popped in my head, and I didn't have to like tell someone else to try to make it. I could like balance the flavors how I wanted. I could like steam my milk exactly how I liked it, kind of thing. And that just like that opened my eyes to like so many different things instead of just being like, oh, this was my narrow view of like the coffee world. And then it was like, oh, I actually know that there's so much more and there's like different ways you can do things. And I, can imagine it's the same in that realm. There's like I buy like as a quilter, I have my go-tos of like what I like, what I buy, what I want to sew with. But when you're the provider, like you have to be the one to like offer different opportunities for all kinds of quilters, all kinds of sewists, and you can't just only think about yourself in those situations.
Definitely. I mean, thank goodness. I mean, the previous quilt shop I had worked at is that they were so specific, and I feel like it taught me a lesson of just kind of seeing people disappointed and not able to find what they wanted.
Yeah.
That I couldn't make it all about me. It had to be about everyone. This quilt shop isn't just for me. I love the community we make, when
Yeah.
we're packed and you just see people excited talking to each other about fabric and quilting, and there's something so special about that. Like in my social sewings, every Friday, Saturday, we do a full day of social sewing classes, and just having that variety and that community, bringing all different types of people together and having them bond over quilting and sewing and that
Yeah.
creativity. There's nothing like it. It's
Yeah.
it's amazing. And yeah, I don't want to alienate anyone by, maybe not having a big enough selection.
Mhm.
Everyone is welcome.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. Um, how do you feel about Minky for quilt backing?
No, no. I don't like minky. It stretches so much. I can technically do it
Mm-hmm.
or long arm it, but I would rather not, honestly. When
Oh
you
no.
cut it, I know so many. There's so many,
I know.
polarizing, and I find it's usually either I love it or maybe
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and so I didn't carry it for the longest time until Tula came out with the Disco Kitty Deja
Mm-hmm.
Vu
Mm-hmm.
Minky, and so I bought that for the shop. And so
Yeah.
I have it in the shop now, but
Okay.
I find that if I'm long arming, it's trickier for me on the long arm I have with the thread I use and the tools I have to get it to the level that I'm happy with of
Mm.
perfection. Um, Now, I think if I was using it myself on my own project and taking that into account when I was doing everything with the
Mm-hmm.
quilt, I think it might be different. But when it's a customer quilt and it's minky and maybe it's not the flattest or not it's much harder to course correct a quilt top that needs a little help to be, flat or square or whatnot when I am using that minky back. And so,
Mm.
yeah. So you're a minky lover?
I am, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I
All
asked because
right.
I love it. But I've also like I've used it ever since I started quilting. Like my very first quilt has Minky on the back. I didn't long arm that one, but
Mhm.
once like I learned, took the certification course to be able to rent the machines from my local quilt shop. And then I think the very first quilt I long armed after that had Minky on the back because I was like, I just loved it so much that I was like, I don't care. And like running having my own long arm and being able to practice and play around with it so much has like I I love it so much and I sell it. I have it in my shop. But
I mean, it might
yeah.
be one of those things that I've written off too quickly,
Yeah,
after
it is
having some
stretchy. You're not
experiences.
wrong though. Like it's so stretchy and you do have to like know how to work with it. And again,
Yeah.
it can be a huge pain in the ass. So like I don't fault anybody for not wanting to work with it because I do get it.
Right.
I do understand. But I'm also just I've done it so much that I'm like not afraid to work with it and it
Makes
doesn't bother
sense.
me. So but I love it so much. I almost all my quilts have Minky on the back.
Oh, great.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I think I might have also just been scarred by the first time I used it.
oh,
The great Mickey back, but the top was not flat at all.
oh, uh-huh.
And it had, the waviest borders maybe that I've ever had, which
Oh,
is tricky. But I found that the combination of the Minky and then
hmm.
trying to fix like I had usually done and been able
Yeah.
to be more successful with, that the Minky introduced this kind of trickiness
Uh-huh.
to the
Yeah.
course correction. I think
Yeah.
if it was a perfectly flat quilt top or just one that didn't require a lot of course correcting,
Hmm.
that maybe my feelings would be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and you're not wrong there either. I think, yeah, when there's problems in the quilt top, it does make the Minky more challenging because you're not dealing with just like a cotton back. You can't just like blast it with steam to get, creases out, whatever, or to like, kind of shrink up an area to make it work. And so, yeah, I'm there with you on that. But if a quilt top is like good to go, I'm like, do you want Minky on the back of that? Like cheesing at people, like, do you want to see the Minky I have? Do you want to touch it?
It feels great.
I know.
Gosh,
I
I
love
did make
it.
a robe out of the kitties.
Oh yeah.
That I have at home, and boy, is that snuggly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I bet. Oh, that sounds so nice. Um, yeah, I just have to ask people about Minky because that's my jam. I love it so much. But anyway, um, well, that's good. I mean, and yeah, it has its pros and cons, but I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
But
I get it.
I love a cotton back too because the drapiness and the coziness of it, you don't always need fake fur on the back of everything because it gets hot, but um
Yeah,
and there
that
are
is true.
really, really great cottons. And I just love seeing what other people bring in too, because there's sometimes where people put stuff on the backs of their quilts. I'm like, I never would have thought to put a backing together like that, or I never would, it's like
Yeah.
Just interesting. I think that's my most favorite part of long arming, beyond the long arming itself, is just seeing other people's creativity and ingenuity and like what they do to bring their quilt to life or to like work around something or to bust through their scraps or whatever. It's like, oh, I never even
Yeah.
would have thought of that. And, sometimes it doesn't work and you're like, wow, this quilt was really problematic. Or sometimes it works perfectly and you're like, this was the most genius thing I've ever seen. So that alone is like so inspiring. And I don't know if you feel that same way, but
Oh, for sure. Gosh. I get so inspired by seeing what people do, and like you said, like I never would have thought of that kind of light bulbs go off. And
yeah,
I love learning and just getting to learn even from what my clients bring me. It's the best. Geez.
yeah,
I never want to feel like I know all of something. I love that,
yeah.
I can continue to grow and learn and like with buying fabrics and finding new fabrics and seeing, with long arming how people put them together and whatnot. And
Hmm.
gosh, I had just a couple months ago for the first time had 100% linen backing,
Oh,
which scared me honestly.
yeah,
I was nervous because I mean, I've used Essex, which is linen and cotton, and that doesn't shift.
right.
But boy, does linen shift, just pure
Really?
linen. But it was a challenge, and the customer was also very happy with the result. It did turn out
Oh, good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um, which thank goodness. I mean, I
Whew.
was totally upfront with everything of like, I don't know, I've never done this before, I
Right.
made sure they knew. And,
Yeah.
I told them, if right away, if I see it's not going to work, I might give you a call. And luckily I didn't have to do that. But it was a great challenge that, I never would have tried it myself, or even thought of it.
Yeah.
And, it was this new fun challenge that I got to work with and see that, oh, it is possible. Gosh.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, yeah. And that again, it's like, I don't think I'd ever put 100% linen on the back of a quilt, or I wouldn't have even thought to, but just seeing other
Yeah.
people try stuff, I'm like, oh, shoot, that's really cool. And like, I, things that I would never, I shouldn't say never. I gotta stop saying never,
Yeah.
but things that I probably wouldn't think of for
Yeah.
myself or think of, and maybe eventually I would have come across it, but it's just, I think that's why the community is so great, is because when you encounter other people's creativity and other people's ideas, it just sparks more and, creativity begets creativity. So it's like there's a never ending supply of it to go around. And for me, ultimately, that's why I love doing what I do, because I just learn so much every day from the people I
Yeah.
talk to on the podcast to my clients, in the long arming. And it's
Yeah.
just, it's so cool.
It's the best. Gosh. Oh, do you have a favorite batting as a long armor?
Mm-hmm. I tend to gravitate towards the quilter's dream. Of course, the name just left my head. They're 80/20 with like
Okay.
the mid loft. What's the, because there's like
Oh,
you know what I'm
there's a
talking about?
name for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. Oh boy. Oh
Anyway,
wow, I'm blanking too. It's like not Supreme. It's not.
no.
Oh wow. Oh
Anyway,
boy.
whatever that one is, that's my favorite because I think I like that. I know polyester is plastic, but I mean whatever. I think that first of all, it's gonna last longer because the polyester's in there. So longevity wise, it's not gonna break down and disintegrate like cotton will over time.
Yeah.
And it helps keep the loftiness in it. So when you're quilting, it lets it keep that texture and
I love the loft.
the crinkly, and that's what I love. I like, again, because I'm on the long arming end and that's my favorite part. I want to see that quilting.
Yeah.
Like I don't want it to blend in the
Yeah.
background. I want it to have a name and a personality, and I want it to be in your face. So like,
Yeah.
but that's, again, my preference as a long armor for myself. If people don't
Yeah.
like that, I do whatever they want. But for me
Yeah,
personally,
gosh.
yeah, but that's like if people ask like, oh, I don't know what's your opinion? That's what I suggest to them. And I carry it. So I'm like, I can be like, get this, I have it for you. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, what's yours? What's your favorite
Oh
batting?
gosh. Well, I love the loft. I love when, the alarming the stitches pull in and you can see the
Yeah.
puff of it and the texture. That's that's everything for me. Even I guess you can kind of see it on the white one back there with
Hmm.
the hearts.
Yeah.
I love when it pulls in. I find that if I'm using like a cotton, most cotton for the most part, it kind of just lays on top
Hmm.
of the quilt versus pulling into the quilt.
Yeah.
And you know, we I use cotton in a ton of quilts that I long arm, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I'm also someone who runs warm at night. So my
Mhm.
favorite is the Dream Wool. I
Oh,
love the Dream Wool. You know, it has the same washing instructions as cotton would, so you don't have any special care or anything. I mean, I
yeah.
wouldn't iron it, not that I'm ironing quilts.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I love that it's breathable. And so it's warm and it's cozy. It has a nice little loft to it, but it doesn't make it heavy because it's wool and it has the poofiness and airiness
Hmm.
to it.
Yeah.
So like on my bed at home, that's what I have. I have my quilt has wool inside of it at home
Nice.
because it breathes well. Otherwise, I run really warm, and if I was under, you know, a thick cotton, I would be a little puddle. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh boy. So yeah, the
Yeah.
wool is definitely my favorite, I would say. Um, yeah,
Nice.
I mean, sometimes there's a specific project that something might work better, you know,
Hmm.
like I said, like bamboo
Yeah.
is really nice because of how
Hmm.
drapey it is if you're using it with
Hmm.
lawn or something.
Hmm.
But for the most part, I do prefer the wool.
Yeah. It does look good. I'm allergic to wool, so um
Oh no.
it's so annoying because like as much as I love working with it because it looks beautiful, I'm like, I have to wear gloves. Um,
Oh geez, yeah, that's not fun.
it's so pretty though. I love it.
Yeah.
Have you done like a double batting on a quilt?
I have. I've done double batties, and I think they're fine for like wall quilts and quilts. But I find that if you're going to cuddle with it, it makes it a little too stiff.
Mm,
I love the look of it. So if it's on a wall, amazing. I would do double wool in a heartbeat.
yeah.
But if you put it on a bed, it might not lay all the way flat.
It's
Just
like
the nature
sticking
of
out.
having all the layers. Yeah, it might
Yeah.
just, you know, flare out a little bit at the edge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it has its place.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What is your thoughts on the double?
I think if you're doing double of the same, yeah, it can be really stiff, but I've done it with a layer of just like the thinnest cotton
Hmm,
batting and then a layer of the wool, and that
right.
turned out really nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen good results with that. Yep.
But and I've done double 80/20, which was kind of nice still because it had the loftiness, the airiness to it, so it wasn't so just like flat, but yeah, I think if you're gonna in my opinion, if you're gonna do double batting, it's like you got to do two different battings, like a thinner
Yep.
one with the loftier one to balance it out. Still give it that warmth and that coziness and the puffiness that you want, but also to like not make it, yeah, like you said, like a wall hanging or like it can't stand on its own, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. There's just so many ways to do things and
Yeah,
I just
for
love
sure.
I just love like talking about it all because it's like you could do so many things and hearing other people's perspectives on why they do or don't do something or it's like there's no right or wrong way per se about stuff. It's like I mean quilts go on the long arm a certain way, but how you quilt it is up to
Yeah.
you. Like what you use as your middle layer batting is up to you. It's like if you want a certain look, then go for it. Like I'll do my best to quilt it. If it's too thick, I can't quilt it. As you know, it's like if there's too much batting, it's not going to work out. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's kind of like, you know, let's make this quilt how you want it. And thank you for sharing the information with me that this is another way that things can be done. And, it's just kind of like an appreciation too of like just the fact that there are so many ways to go at it and to get a quilt done and
Yeah.
make your quilty dreams come true. So,
Mhm. For sure. Gosh, our little tagline has always been art you can cuddle with. And I
yeah.
like that. You know, it's your own thing that you've made and you put on all this, you know, of yourself into it and you know, and you get to cuddle with it. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's really nice. Art you can cuddle with. That's really cute.
Mhm.
I love it.
Yes.
Because really, I mean, and you were talking about like, you were a painter and like the viewing the fabrics as like as if it's just like more a bigger palette of paints. Like you have a bigger palette to
Yeah.
choose from. But Like, and it truly is. It that's your medium, it's like fabric is the medium and you're placing colors and you're building art just in a different way. And I love it. I never get sick of it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. It's like sometimes I might not want to like sit and sew, but I can look at fabric forever. Like I can plan a project like it's nobody's business. I will go find the right colors. Like I'll have friends be like, "Oh, I need to find a solid that goes with this." And I'm like, "It's this one, this solid, this name, whatever." And they're like, "I don't know." And they go check. They're like, "Actually, that matched perfect." I'm like, "I fucking know." Like I know because I do this all day every day and it's my favorite part is like besides the long arm, like matching fabrics and
Yeah.
pulling things together, and it's
Oh,
just
for
so fun.
sure. They're almost two different hobbies, honestly, to me, like
Yeah,
fabric collecting and then doing something with it.
yeah,
I could lay it all out and just look at it and, be in all my glory, let alone getting to make something with it.
yeah, yeah. And there's just like a little, dopamine, serotonin, I don't know, hit when you've like you see something, you're like, I would love to make that. Let me go find the fabric. You like kind of make the plans for it. And even if you don't buy the fabric or you don't get everything pulled together, it's like just the fact of like that's the steps of planning it and knowing what you would do if you were to make that thing. It's like
Yeah.
I get this little like bliss, like, oh, that would be so fun. But then it's like, oh, I've got that project in the back of my pocket. So like if I ever get to a point where I have time for myself, have time for myself, then I know of something I can make and it's already planned out. I know what to do, I know what to buy, kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I think almost that helps me stay motivated to keep going too, if I'm like in a little bit of a slump sewing wise.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know.
No, I'm totally with you. Completely agree. Gosh, it's nice having nice, like I'll buy things without a purpose all the time. Even in my own
Hmm.
quilting, I'll buy a fabric just because I like it. Doesn't necessarily need to have a plan yet. The
Yeah.
plan will come when it's time.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. I have so much fabric like that. It's crazy. But I think we all do. It's like we have things, pieces that we love, and when the right project comes along, then it's like I know exactly what to do with that. And then you pull it into a project, and there you go. You used it. It's like an investment, right? I don't know.
For sure.
Anything to
Yeah, geez,
justify
I
buying fabric.
oh no, gosh, I don't need any justification at all. Geez, I'm for it. I did that with Hello Kitty. I
Yeah,
invested quite a bit in that, imported Japanese Hello Kitty lawn and didn't feel bad about it at all.
good. I'm
I
glad you
knew,
didn't feel
I
bad.
mean, I could make I could make curtains, I could make a robe, I could make dress shirts, anything out
Yeah,
of it. So you know, I
yeah.
didn't need a plan. But I
It's
needed
yeah,
to have it so if I wanted to do those things, I could. I
exactly.
knew I would have regrets otherwise.
Yeah, you needed unfettered access to it so that you could do whatever you want when you decide to.
For sure. No
That's so
problem.
funny. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm so excited that we got to
Of
chat and
course.
meet each other and get to know
Yeah,
about
this was a
you.
blast. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, before we jump off, I always ask, do you have a piece of advice or a tip for the listeners?
Ooh, gosh, I've been thinking about this, and I think
Mm,
I'm just gonna say my favorite notion
mm.
is clover fork pins. I use them to line up my seams. So if I have
Oh,
seams that need to line up, I'll put the fork pin at a quarter inch in from the edge of the fabric, line up the
okay.
seams with the fork pin, and then sew it. And I know it's a guarantee that the seams will line up. Ever since I used those, my seams have been perfect, and I haven't had to, rip them out for alignment issues or anything. And
Yeah.
it's been a game changer. So I would say, you could have, $1,000 cutting machines or all these things. And I say, no, the number one notion is those clover fork pins. They are the best. And we do carry them. Gosh. Oh
Okay.
yeah, before I go, I should say we're KeatonQuilts.com if you want to check
Oh,
us
yeah.
out. We do sell everything online. Free shipping over 100. You can find us on Instagram. It's at Keaton Quilts. We're also on Facebook, same thing, just search Keaton Quilts. And yeah, that's how you can follow along and be on this little quilting journey with us.
Sweet. Yeah. Thank you. And we'll put links in the show notes so that people can just
Awesome.
click on the link and get to your shop. And
Thank
um,
you.
yeah, thanks again. And I can't wait for people to hear this chat and to go see your shop and see what you have to offer.